Optimizing your website for maximum conversion. Um, I'll go ahead and start a full screen slideshow here for you guys. And so when we're talking about conversion and your website and all this stuff, I'm trying to lean away from industry jargon that's confusing. I think that's one of the things that's really bad about the marketing industry. So we would call this CRO, conversion rate optimization. But really, we're just trying to make more money off of the existing traffic from our site, right? And there's really simple ways that we could do that. So I'll go over my plan for the session, and then at the end we'll open it up for Q&A. So first of all, we'll talk about what's a conversion and what should we be measuring that's meaningful on the website. We're going to talk about how to measure the conversion rates and kind of where you should be based on our internal industry benchmarks. We're going to talk about the main conversion elements on your website and their placement. We're going to show some examples of bad actors. Maybe not bad actors, but just like poor conversion elements, right? Like, and probably if the downstream effect of that is just the impact that's going to have. Navigation considerations too, right? So if someone's not ready to buy like that instant, are we presenting the right materials that are going to enable trust, right? Build trust with them. We'll talk about loading speed. Super important if you're in a rural area to think about your loading speed. People don't have the attention span to wait for your website to load, honestly. We're going to talk about rich content and how that kind of plays into building trust. You're trying to convince someone to allow you to huck them out of an airplane using a website, right? That's like a really interesting proposition to me. And we'll talk about those trust signals, right? So like multi-platform reviews. So you're not the one talking about how awesome your business. It's just a stream of other people, right? And then we'll open that up to Q&A at the end, so we can go over, more specific stuff that you guys are dealing with. So the important question, who am I? Why should you listen to me? My name's Mark. I'm a dad. I got these three boys. That picture's a little old. They're 6, 4, and 2 now. That's from last October. Met my wife on a 5-minute call. And so skydiving's been a very important part of our relationship. We got married and jumped out of a biplane, and some other fun stuff. Um, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And again, I've going on 16 years digital marketing experience. So really the reason you should listen to me is I spent the last 6 years in the director role at a legal marketing agency and fintech marketing agency. Those are two of the most competitive niches out there in the digital sphere. In 2023, managed just over $1 million in Google ad spend for fintechs. And I began working with Drop Zones in March of 2020. So I've got a lot of experience in this industry as well. But then launched my agency full time in January and really looking to provide as much value as I can. So last month, we talked about the elements of an optimized digital campaign, right? So like it starts with your website, and then we're driving traffic via SEO, your Google business profile. You could drive traffic via Google Ads. You could drive traffic via social media. And then we're collecting our customer data there, right? And so hopefully we're using that to build some reviews. We're doing email and SMS to get those reviews and hopefully get some upsells, gift cards, that sort of thing. And then we're retargeting, right? People who haven't converted on the website. We capture them in a little ad campaign that hits up YouTube, social, search, and all. And then the last and final layer, enhanced conversions, right? So actually using your revenue data and your email list and personal data, right, to upload back to the social media platforms, to Google Ads, which hashes that data but enables you to use their AI to expand. So that would be like super optimized. Most of us at best are here. This part, we're kind of relying on like Burplesoft, Dizio, DZ Manager, Ground Control, like you name it. This part's kind of going off and on. But actively working on that, to get that solved, multiple platforms. And so when we think about what's the value of your website, we tend to think about that in this industry transactionally. It's like, oh, $4,000 to like build a website, right? But ultimately, that's your online business card. That's your video sales letter, right? You might have your YouTube video up there or just a banner video. Um, and it earns trust with not just with your prospects, but also in the digital realm. So you got digital PR, you got reviews, SEO, your domain age, all stuff that like Google looks at to rank you. It does your online bookings and collects revenue. Um, and you have a lot of risks there, right? A website hack, loss of your SEO ranking, low conversion rates. That's $1 million asset, right? Like you're going to use that for the next few years. Even if you're running like a 182 and 1,000 skydives, like it's gonna rank, it's gonna get up there, right? So it's really important that we optimize that and just really have that as streamlined as possible to represent who we are, what we do, and why you should go with us. Um, and so when we talk about, oh, what's a conversion? What do we want to optimize for? It's really simple. It just means a meaningful action on your website. Um, and so we want to talk about like primary and secondary conversions. Primary is just your revenue maker. We use that for optimization, right? So when someone books online, we can either estimate that revenue value or we can report it back directly. So that's our number one, right? But then there's also secondary stuff that kind of leads into that. We call these higher funnel conversions. Use that for observation and trends, phone calls, form submissions, like your Google business profile, you get directions, map views, and all that. So we could take a look at that stuff and see, hey, where are we building? Where are we growing our traffic? Where are we maybe not growing our traffic? And then which channels are really important? Um, and typically we measure that with like Google Analytics, and you'll see sort of this. This is sort of a pyramid, the base of traffic, right? Sometimes you'll see it as a funnel, but really at the base, you've got all of your website traffic, right? So you're going to have a ton of traffic to the website, and then a few of them are going to be like reading articles, submitting a form, visiting some of your key pages. And then even fewer of them are going to be converting, right? Actually booking for revenue and that. And we can sort of segment our users by this, right? So anybody who's doing a secondary conversion but not a primary conversion is maybe someone we want to add to our retargeting audience. That's real easy to set up in Google Analytics. And then we want to take a look at our conversion rates, right? So the most important one is going to be our total users to purchasers rate. And it's just really stupid, simple math when you get down to it, right? So purchases divided by total users. And you can break that down by traffic channel to identify what's your best converting channels. So an existing client here, you can see all users convert about 4%, paid traffic a little bit higher, organic a little bit higher, direct, when people go straight to the website, even higher, right? And so we want to look at what's a good conversion rate. The average on Google search ads is 4.4%, right? We're seeing that with this client via our paid traffic, which is cool. I think we can still increase that though. But overall, that's targeting high intent traffic, right? We know people are Googling go skydive near me. They have a high conversion rate, right? Ideally. On general website traffic, I'd say 2%, because your traffic quality from different sources is going to vary. And 2 to 3%, I would say, is converting pretty high. So if you're below 2%, if you're below 1%, definitely like take a look at what is going on your website. I'm going to give you a couple tools to measure that. So that we're not guessing, right? We're not just taking a look. So we look at our conversion rate optimization, right? Our CRO. We're just working to drive that rate as high as possible because that's going to make us more money off our existing traffic. So, real simple, main conversion elements. It's not rocket surgery, right? This is the only time I use AI in my business, guys. So there's this we use this term above the fold in our industry, right? Marketing industry. And really that harkens back to a time when there was newspapers, right? And they used to fold it. So the publisher would put the most important stuff above the fold. So now we call that the viewport, right? So you want your most important information, a video, your location, how to book, right? Your brand name. And you want to have that optimized for mobile devices first. A lot of website developers, if you go with one of these like local SEO companies, they're going to build you a really pretty desktop website, and then they're not really going to look at the mobile stuff. That's kind of a weird thing that developers do, right? But they work on desktop, so it makes sense. They want to make it pretty. So we're really going to take a look at the mobile. That's 82% of traffic for this client, right? Pardon me, I'm getting over a cold here. So let's talk about examples of poor conversion element placement. I'm sorry if you're watching this video and you were one of the examples. I do not mean to offend you. Um, sorry if I'm picking on you. All right, so we've got here's an example of not looking at mobile device, right? So the desktop looks pretty good. You're like, that's a pretty good image. We got gift cards. We got all our contact info up the top. But on mobile, there's no way to book right away, right? We got a little phone number up here, but that's going to look pretty small on your phone. And even when you open the menu, there's no clear way to book, right? That's kind of a no-brainer. Just have a big button, book now, right there, middle of the viewport window on mobile. So we've got a couple of other examples, right? Skydive Grand Canyon. Not only is this a little bit weird, but it looks like they're advertising a naked tandem skydive at 16,000 feet. So the wording, I think, is maybe a little bit off. These got orange skies out here, right? No branding. So they just have this parachutist. You want to have like Paragon Skydive right here. It's got a great logo. So they're lacking the branding. That's trust signal. No way to book immediately, right? Um, Here's an example of like we're trying to get it right. We've got good branding, but the book now button is kind of jam-packed. And that one doesn't actually go anywhere. You have to click this one up in the nav. And then you'll see on mobile there is no book now button. So simple stuff that we could do. Skydive Pennsylvania. So here's an example of we got it kind of pulled together, right? But again, it looks great on desktop. But then when you switch to mobile, we do have a book now button up there at the top, but it kind of leads into gift certificates as their primary offer. I would say we got to put first time jumpers up there. We got to put tandems up first, especially if that's what your primary business is, right? If it's AFF, then put learn to skydive first. And so website navigation also super important, right? So if we go and we look back at Danielson over here. They got pretty good navigation, but again, this book your jump is just kind of tucked in here again with the other stuff. So should I book? Should I contact? We just got to make it stupid simple for everyone, right? So when we build a navigation, um, uh, here's what we don't want to see, right? Like no booking button. And we click on the navigation. It's kind of unclear. Okay, I'm going to go to reservations. It says book your jump now, and it's like, okay, I got to keep scrolling. So now we're already 3 clicks or taps on the phone away from a booking. We could have just had a button, one tap right on the home page, right? So when you think about navigation, keep the buttons visible on mobile devices. Full screen navigation on mobile, it works for a better user experience. I'm going to show you guys a demo of that here in a second. And tap targets, middle of the screen, maybe a little bit lower so you don't have to reposition thumbs, right? But mid-screen seems to work the best, and especially if people, People might have like, I guess I have the iPhone 16, but the iPhone SE, the window might be like up here. They have smaller phones. So we want to make sure we're keeping that um, in mind, right? So when we redesign a site, you can see it's going to be real easy to book a skydive. And then when we click on the navigation, again, we've got the buttons. So at any point in time, somebody clicks on the navigation, they can book and go right to the booking site, right? Um, same idea over here, right? So we've got either book a skydive or go to Manifest, right? That's one of our common pages. And again, the whole screen navigation. So we got our book now, gift certificates, and social just right there. So as you're scrolling through any page, you can book at any time. Um, so it's like it gets pretty stupid simple, right? We have a pretty basic template, the branding changes. We've got those trust signals. We've got the video that's going to run on mobile. Can't see here, but that is a video that's running in the background here, and here as well, which is a little bit more in the viewport. And then the last thing that really got to talk about on the website stuff is going to be speed. And so speed is super important. This is from Cloudflare. They do a content delivery system. Um, Large measurable impact on your conversion rate. The quicker web page loads, the more likely users going to perform what you want them to do. And so you can see 2.4 seconds. Bam, that's in the window that we want to be. That's kind of our minimum. And you can see for every about 1 second, we're just dropping the conversion rate. Like people are just not waiting. And so does speed matter? Like, yeah, especially on rural internet when people are traveling to and from a rural drop zone, we got to consider how fast is our website loading, right? And this could be something that you either do through managed hosting or you have an IT person do. It's something built into our services, but it can be difficult to measure, right? So you can go to pagespeed.web.dev, and that's going to give you access to Google's tool that's going to run it, and give you sort of your page speed score, right? Or you can use Chrome developer tools, which is what I have shown in the right. And so it's showing me locally. I can throttle that to like a rural slow 4G internet and then see how is that performing similar to my user experience, which is on the right. And so you can see my users are actually seeing a little bit of a layout shift. Something's moving around. We got to fix up. But everything's going pretty well. If we see this right above like 2 seconds, we start to see our conversions really drop. That's something you got to talk to your IT guy about or your host about. It usually involves a content delivery network like Cloudflare or NitroPack, image compression. It can involve changing some stuff around on your website too, but that's why we just manage everything vertically, right? We do the web dev and then we do the hosting, speed, compression, all of that because we want to control the user experience from like Google Ads click or organic search all the way down to like our shopping cart experience. Um, and then, to a certain extent, you have to build trust with your customers or your prospects in order to build the trust that they're going to need to in order to jump with you, right? So we can do that with what we call rich content. Now, this is great for SEO too. It's not only great for converting, keeping people on the site longer, but it's great for SEO because Google is looking for videos, photos. They're looking for bullet points. They're looking for interestingly formatted stuff, right? So ultimately, we want people to spend more time on our site. Video, photo is great for that, right? We use the principle show, don't tell. We're showing happy customers. We're showing our airplanes. We're showing our beautiful exit shots during sunset, right? It's going to increase user engagement time, start developing trust when they start, and start normalizing the risk of skydiving, right? Like that's something that happens at the drop zone too. They show up. They see the Bill Booth video. They're watching people jump. They're talking to people. It's normalizing the experience for them. Well, we can start doing that online, right? And start building comfort and trust with them already. Blog articles are great to do. You don't have to have a writer on staff. You could just have someone who's organizing or doing events, right? Just post stuff about that, do a debrief about it or something like that. Um, Tandem customers love to feel like they're part of the greater community, right? So when they see that stuff, it sort of builds trust that like, hey, active skydivers come here, right? Like it's a place to be. And again, with building trust, we can start with we can really dig into the reviews. And so it's not just data that we're trying to improve here, right? Like we're trying to get from 1% conversion to 2%. These are people we're trying to connect with, right? So we build customer reviews over time with consistently in, month out. Google Business Profile, probably number one. So the ranking factors there, relevance, they're searching for skydiving, distance, how far away are you, prominence, how well rated are you, and at another level, how well is your entity built in Google for SEO. That's one that we can directly influence with just by having more reviews. And you'll see that too. If you go searching around drop zones, state to state, you'll see 182 drop zones with like 2,000 reviews, just crushing like twin turbines, like because they're just not doing it. Um, and then we can bring those into the website, right? The latest Google reviews widget. Then users can see the volume and the number of reviews. Again, helping normalize skydiving ops in their mind, right? So they're like, oh, look at all these people they're pouring through there. Like, so they may not convert today, tomorrow. It'll probably be like Saturday night at 2 in the morning. But they see the latest reviews from like last week. They see them piping through regularly. It keeps that activity going up that builds trust. And then we can put those out on social media too, right? So even though social media has low conversion, it does help build trust with your brand, and people come back via direct traffic in social media. So you might see a small percentage come in that way, but your direct traffic will be beefed up. Um, and it's all just in consideration of the customer journey, right? It's gotten more complex as social media platforms become increasingly in your face, especially with video, TikTok style video. They even call it TikTok brain, right? Users tend to interact with your brand a whole bunch of times before they convert. So we got to keep in mind that, we're in a trust building phase. And so all those things combined will help us really build out our conversion rates and get us to a point where we know, hey, my website is squared away. I know for a fact that it's squared away. Now I can start driving traffic to it. And I'm not concerned about like dumping a whole bunch of money into paid traffic and then it doesn't perform. And I'm like, oh God, what do I do now? Right. We want to avoid crushing ad spend and no results like that. So we talked about what a conversion is, right? It's a purchase, it's a booking. How to measure that, and some sort of benchmarks that we have, right? 2% I would say is pretty good. If you're below like 1%, we got to take a look at some stuff. We talked about main conversion elements, placement on the page, your navigation, full screen, especially mobile navigation, super important, and having a booking element just right there. We talk about the importance of website loading speed and how that can impact people buying from you. The importance of rich content to build trust, and then reviews as well, multi-platform reviews, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal to building up your trust over time. That's going to have people see you as an authority. And so next month, we're going to do a killer webinar series all about Google Ads. This is kind of my bread and butter, really sweet spot. I know a lot of drop zones have sort of implemented things on their own that may or may not be working. And Google is calling you with their experts. You can see, oh, start with an expert. Their experts are giving you bad advice, which will de-optimize your campaign and pin your ad spend to the top. So this is going to be a super important one all across the industry. Just wanted to mention that. Before we drop into just Q&A,